Healing minds, inspiring voices, living truth, making choices. This is your space. Just be you, authentically peculiar with Marcia. Welcome to a space where healing is real, where your voice matters and your truth is enough. With authentically peculiar. Season 5, the year of expansion, healing deeper, living louder, stepping fully into who you are. Authentically peculiar with Marcia.
Welcome back to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. I am so excited about my guest today, Michele LaFemina. I'm excited because I love talking to other therapists. I love understanding who they are, what they bring to the table. And so before I get too excited, let me introduce you to Michele. Michele is an individual who is a licensed professional counselor. She's an entrepreneur, an author, and trauma informed leadership coach with more than 2 decades. She doesn't look like she's over 20, more than 2 decades of experience helping individuals heal and thrive.
Mm.
With degrees in psychology and counseling, Michele has dedicated her career to supporting others through trauma, anxiety, depression, addiction, women's issues, and holistic wellness. Michele is the author of Bravely Unraveled, a powerful memoir detailing her journey of overcoming trauma through faith, resilience, and personal transformation.
Mm.
Her work has been featured in multiple international publications, and her peer reviewed research is now available in colleges across the country. Drawing from both her professional expertise and lived experience, Michele shares her journey through anxiety, depression, eating disorders, and a remarkable 100-pound weight loss transformation. Today, she helps practitioners, healers, and therapists lead with authenticity, this is my favorite thing, through her trauma informed leadership coaching programs. So please help me as we bring on this woman whose story embodies resilience, healing, and hope. Welcome, Michele, for to as a guest of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.
Hi, Marcia. I'm so honored and blessed to be here. I'm so excited, everyone. Hello, hello from New Jersey.
From New Jersey, but we actually came across one another in Paris
Paris.
at that women leadership and empowerment
Yes.
conference there, where I got the opportunity to meet so many beautiful people, so many beautiful women and
Mhm.
some men with stories of life changing
Mm.
situations.
Mm.
So Michele, what first of all, what got you into becoming a therapist? What drew you into that line of work?
Well, when I was a little girl, there's a lot of trauma in my
Mm.
home and in my friends' homes. And I was like the one friend that everybody would dump their problems to, and I was like the trusted secret keeper. They would come to me and share
Mm.
with me. And I remember I was at my house and I had a little friend, and she was of mixed background. Her dad was
Mhm.
white and her mom was a woman of color. And she was at my house, and all of a sudden this woman of color showed up and said, I need to speak to you. And I said,
Mm.
okay. And she ended up being a DIFUS worker. And I
Mm.
didn't know what was going on. All I knew is this woman walked across my lawn and started talking to me about my friend. And she wanted
Mhm.
to know questions about her and her family. And I didn't know what was happening. All I
Mhm.
knew is the way the woman spoke to me was I felt seen. And she was talking to me
Mm.
as a child. I was 11 years old. And I said, whatever she does, that's what I want to do because she's helping kids. Come to find out, my friend was being raped by her father. So when I went for a
Mm.
sleepover, she goes, oh, my dad is going to love you. And I
Oh,
felt
wow.
very creepy sleeping in that
Mhm.
bed. I slept in the dad's bed with my friend, and we were little girls, and I remember the dad kept coming in, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I didn't know that was happening, but I had such, like, my antennas were all the way up. Like, I couldn't
Yeah.
sleep through the night. And that was like the catalyst, meeting that woman. She was so kind, and it just put something in me as I progressed and kept growing up. I just wanted to work with people, adults. I wanted to be an adult one day that would help children. And that's what I ended up being. I said I wanted to be a child psychologist. I had a lot of, in and out of struggles with mental health as a child, for eating
Yeah.
disorders. And I was a cutter when I was younger, and suicide, and all the things that you see the kids today struggling with. That was me,
Way back when.
yeah. My eating disorder started at 11 years old. Like, that's
And that when I read that, I was like, my goodness. At
terrible.
11 years old,
Mhm.
anxiety,
Horrible.
depression, and eating
PTSD.
disorder.
Before they knew what PTSD was, they tried to diagnose
Yes.
me at 11 with with bipolar, and I'm like, I'm not bipolar. I was having these flashbacks of being sexually abused as a little girl, and I didn't know they were daymares. I was having nightmares in the middle of the day. I'd be in class, so I just picked up the desk and threw it. And they're like, she's bipolar. Like, no, she's having a traumatic PTSD episode. And then they put me with the counselor, and then my sexual abuse started coming out from when I was a little girl from my
Exactly.
grandfather. And but I didn't know how to articulate that, because first of all, my grandfather was in another country, and I knew that if I opened my mouth, it would be like a World War III between one side and the other. And it definitely happened. My dad didn't speak to his family for a long time, and my grandfather has since passed on, and committed suicide eventually. So there was like a lot of heavy stuff that went on, and it was a tough time. But like, going through that, I had multiple sexual assaults from 8th grade, and in high school 3 times I was raped. And you know speaking of, that was really a hard time for me. I went to high
Yeah.
school, and every day I felt like I didn't want to live, because I would have to see him at school.
Mm-hmm.
I came home from work yesterday, and I have a big following on social media, pretty big, and I'm worldwide. So I'm on like the cover of at least 10 magazines right now worldwide. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
This year has taken off. And
It's a
every
beautiful
day,
thing.
it is, but I have turned down at least 25 magazines in the last like 2 months. I'm not, because I just can't do it. I'm just like, what is happening? You know what I mean? I was just offered today to be on the BBC TV program. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm going to be doing an interview with them. I just found that out within a half hour ago. I was like, oh, from podcast to BBC.
I
Okay.
love it. I
But
love it.
I'm
Because our voice has to get out there.
yes,
When we are survivors of sexual trauma
yeah.
and violation, and we find our voice, it is our responsibility to
Yeah,
put it
absolutely.
out there and to help people understand that we have gone through these things, not from a space of looking as a victim, but as a victor
Victor.
in our lives.
I say victim, survivor, thriver. So this is
Yes.
the thriver, thriving on,
Yes.
and open the door to help other people walk through, because you are like trapped in that alone period. It's like a dark hallway. And when you're in that trauma and you don't know how to verbalize it, you feel so scared, you feel so isolated, you feel so alone, you feel sometimes suicidal. You're taking substances, either you're starving yourself, you're putting some substance in your body to numb out, to avoid. I gained 100 pounds in my marriage because it was so traumatic, and there was just like abuse going on. And I went from, cheerleading in college to meeting my soon to be husband to gaining 100 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, who is this lady? And so that
Exactly.
weight loss was all about letting those layers of trauma just shed off and doing the work, somatic healing, therapy for 9,000 years. I was born on a therapy couch. And my mom says my hand came out first of her womb. And my dad goes, that's because you were on the phone. like I was always on the phone, always. I
Yeah.
was always talking because all my friends needed me. I was the social person
Mm-hmm.
that helped them. You know, I was a little teenager, and
Mm-hmm.
my friends, the males, my male friends, they would confide in me about their own sexual abuse, their parents'
Mm-hmm.
divorces, mom was being called a whore at home, and things that were going on. So people would come to me and they would dump, and like I was being a therapist till 1 in the morning when I was like 13 years old, and I didn't even know God was preparing me for, hey, this is what you're going to do. And now I'm a clinical director and I run a facility in Burlington, New Jersey, and we've been open for over a year. We're getting ready to open our second facility. It's got over 100 space for 100 people. It's a
Okay.
very bougie facility, has like a gym and a yoga studio. It's insane. They're doing a nail
I love that.
salon. Oh my God, I love.
I love that because you get the somatic and holistic approaches in
Yes,
there. You get to root cause issues
yeah.
out there that's impacting you, and just trauma recovery, which is both of our niches, really opens doors for us to help people understand their struggle, understand the why behind their decision making, their behavioral responses. How do you utilize your stories, your experiences to help other survivors recognize that I'm not alone on this journey? If she
Mhm.
made it, I can. How do you help them understand that?
Well, I've been in recovery from addiction 26 years, and
Okay.
I got clean at 20 years old. So,
Okay.
being in recovery for so many years, and having the background in addiction and mental health and
Mm-hmm.
all the things, eating, everything. I've been touched
Yeah.
by everything, and I've healed from pretty much everything too because of God's grace and the work I've done on myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not get through it alone, and I still continue to heal. There's always more
Mhm.
healing. So I'm very
Always.
transparent with the people that walk in to say, you know what, I'm not just coming because I have all these degrees or all these licenses or you see me on magazines or whatever. I'm coming because one day I was in your seat and my
Yes.
college at 20 years old was kicking me out of school because of addiction. And they said, I better
Mm-hmm.
get it together. And I ended up going to a facility that I today run.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
took
wow.
an outpatient and I was there for several months. And when they're like, okay, it's time to graduate, I was like, no, 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 no. I'm not ready for that. I am not ready. You guys have saved my life. And they're like, no, Michelle, it's time to go back to life and start fresh. And like the clients come in and they're scared. And I'm like, I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not alone. So knowing that besides all the degrees and all this stuff, the outside
Mm-hmm.
stuff, I had to do the work. So I'm like the byproduct of I lived it. I lived it, guys. And I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it too. And if you don't have faith right now, let my faith pour into you. And together we're going to cross this bridge one step at a time.
I love that. So,
Mhm.
what do you think is a big misconception about trauma recovery?
That it can just be done by talking. I absolutely do not believe that at all
At all?
because it is, there's someone Vessel, he did the book Trauma Lives in Your Body. Trauma is
Mm-hmm.
stored, and once you can, I love tapping. You can
Me
tap
too.
something. So girl, let me tell you, the first time I spoke in New York City, like
Mm-hmm.
2 Julys ago, was the first time I was public speaking, like on one of the stages we do, like how we
Uh-huh.
met you in Paris.
Uh-huh.
And they messed up my paperwork. It's just a quick story. They messed my speech up. They had it set up wrong, and the woman is calling me to come on stage, and I'm like, oh my God, they messed it up. The IT people, I had to resend it. They lost it. I'm getting ready to have like a panic attack. So what do I do?
Mm.
I go back. I sit with my boyfriend at the time. He's now my fiance, and I sit next to
Congratulations.
him. Thank you. And I start tapping, and people
Mm-hmm.
are looking at me like, what? And I'm just like, oh my God. And let me tell you, within 2 minutes, my body calmed down because, girl, I had to pull myself back together.
Listen,
Emerging. You know,
and people don't realize, especially because I love somatic therapy. I love holistic therapy, period. And people don't understand. They think that we are oversimplifying it when we say just tap, just give me a couple of taps to
Pull your
calm. Let's pull
ears.
your ears down.
Oh,
Get into the carotid
yes. Oh,
artery. Let's, yeah.
massage it out. Oh, yes.
Transcendence
Oh,
movement,
yes.
you know,
Woosah, girl.
sound bowl,
Yeah.
all of that,
Oh.
and how it realigns and reconnects your nervous system to a
Mhm.
place where you can say, it's okay for me to breathe.
Yes. Do you ever hear the
It's okay
penny
for me.
drum?
Yes, I have one.
I have two. They're amazing.
Yes,
Oh
I
man.
love them. I love them. I love them, you know, as someone that truly believes our body knows how to heal itself when we
Mm,
connect with our mind
mm-hmm.
in the healing process. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm a redirect because we could talk about
We can
somatic
talk about
healing
anything. Oh my God.
all day because that's just my love. That's my love language
Me
in therapy,
too. Me
right?
too.
You know, you talked about in your introduction with me and the little conversations that we had about being a mother,
Mm.
and what that journey has been like for you.
Mm.
Can you discuss how becoming a mother, and I guess in normalized terms at a later age, whatever that is,
It is
and
true.
how it shows up for you in the pivoting of your identity.
Okay. Well, I had two children. I was married over
Hmm.
20 years ago, and I had two children, and we divorced because of his addiction and unfaithful behaviors. And I said, I deserve better. And they were 3 and 2
Absolutely.
when I left. And it's been a lifelong struggle with that relationship
Hmm.
continuously. So I have two children. They're 18 and my son is 16. My son is a child with special needs, medical issues. My daughter went through addiction and almost
Hmm.
lost her a few times. So that was pretty
Mm.
devastating. The
Yeah.
miracle is, being a clinical director, so being in the field of addiction and mental health, my daughter, and I just shared this on another podcast out of Australia a few weeks ago. My daughter got kicked out of high school for selling marijuana, and I was
Mm.
mortified. So they ended up
Hmm.
taking her from this bougie area school where I live. It was a wonderful school, and put her in she was the only white girl in school. Call her the
Mm.
people's princess. She ended up
Hmm.
graduating 6 months early. And I don't know if you remember, but when we were in Paris, my daughter was with me. Like when she
Hmm.
was 9 years old, she goes, Mommy, will you take me to Paris when I graduate? And we were so broke. I'm like, sure, no problem. No idea that one day this is actually, I put it out there. Me and God we were going to make it happen. And we made it happen.
Absolutely.
I got asked
Hmm.
to speak again in Paris. I launched my book last year in Paris in March.
Hmm.
And then this year, I bring my daughter with me. And it was like, what a gift. Thank you, God. And I'm bringing her. And it was like, I made that happen. And she graduated January 28th. And March 5th, we're on an airplane. Like, what?
I
What?
love it.
Only but God could do that. Seriously.
Yes.
So
Yes.
the timing. So she actually on Monday, June 8th. She walks with her class and she's giving the speech. So she's
Wow.
talking about how her own addiction and she struggled and made really bad choices, but basically redemption. And God
Hmm.
molded her and did something really big with her life. And she's turning it around to be hope for others. And she wants to be a therapist. And I'm
I
like,
love that full circle moment.
oh
Oh
man,
my goodness, because a lot of parents, they would get stuck in their own need to be the victim in
oh no.
her story. And I love that you didn't give up on her, that your real truth was able to support her because you understood not only the battle of addiction, but the root cause
It was
of what
trauma.
led
Really was
to
trauma.
that. It's just trauma. And I tell people, you know, when I'm doing CU classes and things like that, and we're talking about substance abuse, and I'll ask the question. I have a group of nurses that I'm training in mental health right now, and I said, what is the gateway drug
Mm.
to substance abuse? And of course, you know, everybody hollered
Marijuana.
marijuana, which
It's
is so
trauma.
not the truth. It's trauma. It is
Absolutely.
trauma. It's
1,000.
unprocessed, unhealed trauma that
Mm.
pushes us over into how can I numb all of this stuff that's going on. And so hearing how you supported your daughter on your journey as a mother and as a clinician speaks volumes to the work that you're doing to, and even as a director in a facility, to help individuals understand the importance of changing their life for them. Your daughter couldn't have done it for her, for
Yeah,
you. She had to do it for
for
herself.
yourself.
And
That's
that's, and that's the thing that's really beautiful behind the process. It's like when I see you as a
it. Me
gift of
too.
voice. Thank you. I see you as a gift of voice. I
Mhm.
see you as a gift of presence. How do you see yourself as a gift?
Authentic. Um,
Mm.
Oh, definitely authentic. I mean, my life experiences, God has shown up for me since I was a little girl and gave me the gift of sight. So I'm able to see things other people can't spiritually. And because of that, I've helped heal and bring out so many other people's traumas they weren't even ready to talk about. They don't even really know, but I see them and I'm able to help pull them out on my clients. And they're like, "Oh, I've been waiting for this. I knew I had this. I knew this happened." And the healing has been, it's a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual surgery. And we get in it and we do it. And, I am definitely a gift to this world. I am a light, and I'm a
Hmm.
force. Like I got a lot of spiritual alignment. I got a lot of angels on my side, and
Come on now.
yes,
Come on now.
yes,
That
so
gift as a seer,
yeah,
as a therapist,
yes,
it's like top here. People don't understand because it's just like I'm sitting and I'm listening to the universe. Be like, okay, what you want me to say to them? How are you aligning me with their spiritual needs? Not religious,
no
but
spirit,
spiritual needs
girl,
of
yes.
who they are.
Woo!
Man, listen.
And I do love my Jesus, but it's bigger.
This ain't talking down Jesus. We
No,
love Jesus.
no, no, not at
But
all.
we got a
Got
whole
a
gifting
whole
that taps into
yes.
the universal exist. Listen, you're
Woo!
about to make me preach up in here.
I love it. I wanted to be a preacher. Bring it, mama. Bring it.
I love it. But I got a question for you. If anxiety, trauma, and self doubt were sitting in front of you right now,
Hmm.
what would you say to them?
I would say, not today, Satan. No way. You are not
Mhm.
even going to take that from me. I spent too many years in pain and beating myself up and just self disgust in my own prison because of the horrible thoughts you put in my head that were not true.
Come
So,
on
no,
now.
not
Come
today.
on now. And what would be a truth that you want our audience to understand, especially from your book, which I'm going to order as soon as we finish this podcast, Bravely Unraveled?
Healing and resilience and having self compassion, because I didn't for a long time. I was very caught up in the
Mm,
masculine and I was very hard and very critical. And I
mm-hmm,
didn't start softening until the last few years, really, because
mm,
I lived not just in trauma, but I lived in that fight or flight all
yeah.
the time. And a lot had to do with being a mom. My
Mm,
son a
mm-hmm,
few years ago had a terrible experience where he had an anaphylactic shock reaction and was in a
mm,
coma on life support. His lungs
my
collapsed.
goodness.
He was on life support for 2 weeks, and I sat with him around the clock. I had just started a new position as a clinical director. And, that first weekend, I was starting on Monday by myself. The other clinical director left, and here I am. Saturday night, he ends up, his everything collapses, his
Mm-hmm,
throat closes, he's on life support. They're telling me he may die. They had to go from one big machine of breathing to another. And they said, he has a 50-50 chance of living. And I'm like, you got to be kidding. He just went
wow.
to go bowling and went to like they had like the arcade, and then they had the shooting thing with the fake guns and the smoke
Mm-hmm.
machine. We had no idea he was allergic to that smoke, and it
Oh,
froze
wow.
his lungs. He just he turned blue. He did die a little bit and come back.
Mm-hmm,
They were able to
mm-hmm.
incapacitate him a few times, but because of that, he had some brain damage loss. And, they told me he would probably never walk. He would be a vegetable. And just my son was always like a big sports kid and always active. He would score he wanted to be in the NBA. He would score like 33 points a game. And then he was in the coma. Everything fell apart, and they said he may never be alive. This is I'm just praying. I had people around the world praying for my son. I would go on Facebook and I would go live and share updates from the hospital. And my aunt was in Italy. She's friends with like the Vatican people, whatever. She's on the steps of the Vatican praying for my son. Like people literally around the world were praying for my son. And he woke up and he put his foot down and he started to walk, and then he just started to run. And, miracle. He ended up being the valedictorian for his 8th grade class. And as he went to give his speech, he lost it. He was talking about being in the coma and he just couldn't stop crying. And the principal took over and read his speech. It was like,
oh, wow. How beautiful.
Talk about redemption. Like God just
Yes.
redeemed him. And he's a sophomore. He's getting ready to plan for college next year.
I love it.
He's homesick today. He still has a lot of breathing issues. He only has about 70% lung capacity. And, this stuff is kind of scary because he's my medical child and he has special needs. He's on the spectrum. So he has a lot of help in my house. We had 10 hours a week of services and, it's a lot. And actually, you talked about being an older mom. Like I lost 2 babies and that was probably the toughest time in my life. One of them would have had trisomy 15 and the other one would have had Down syndrome, and they both died while I was pregnant. And I was like devastated. And they told me I was 39 years old. And they said, if you want to have a baby, you're going to have to pay $40,000 and go in vitro. And I said, absolutely not. If God wants me to have a baby, happen. I thought it was my husband at the time. Like he's got no kids. It's his sperm, but it was me. My eggs were old, she said. So I was like, okay. So 40 years old, I end up getting pregnant. And I'm like, what? I couldn't believe it. I had a baby at 40. She's about to be 7 on July 2nd. And she's my double rainbow miracle. Her name is Luciana, which means light. She's my light baby.
I love that.
Warrior. Oh my God. She talks about God. She talks about the angel. She talks about her little sisters flying around her all the time.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And her being so young and being
so intuitive.
in that press. Yes. Oh my God. I love that. I love that. Yeah. And you said something and you kind of skated past it. Being a mom at 40.
It's terrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. I used to laugh at these women. I go, who would want to have a baby at 40? I was 28 and 31 when I had my other 2. So here I am. They're 10 and 12 years apart from my older kid. That's a gap. That's not like a 2-year.
That's a huge gap.
Yes, that's a whole nother lifestyle.
It's like my oldest daughter. She has a 23-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I was just like, girl. And it was so funny because it's like, okay, here's where we are with this. But there's a pivoting. Let's talk a little bit about what that pivoting is and having to go back and even the gap saying, who am I today? What is going on?
I'm a woman who doesn't take shit today. Okay. I was a victim. I was married. I was miserable. I did not know how to stand up for myself. I did not know I had a voice. My voice does not shut up. I don't stop. I will let you know about it. Whatever it is. Like I have no problem because I am backed by faith. Backed by faith and trust. So I have no problem opening my mouth. And I don't care I don't care who you are. I'm just going to let you know how it really is because I see things in the spirit world and I get to see all the things. So when I am seeing something, it's not even like, oh, it kind of is. Like, no, this is a fact. Like this is a serious spiritual fact that's happening right now. And this is what you need to know about yourself. This, you want to heal this, you need to exactly do this. And
exactly.
And people will be like, yeah, I want Michelle as my therapist because she'll tell me like it is. I don't want the fluff. I don't want the hand holding. And I'll still hold your hand, but I'm going to still give it to you real. You know what I mean? Because this is life or death.
There's no better way.
Absolutely.
There's no better way.
Absolutely. You know,
Well, yeah, because if we don't do that, if we don't give it to them the way it's given to us, we then become accountable for not giving it to them. And people don't understand. And I get it. I know the textbooks taught us how to be therapists.
yeah.
I'm so beyond the textbook therapist. And I tell people in a heartbeat, if you're looking for a textbook therapist, I'm not her. Find you somebody to play with,
Me
because
too.
that's not who I am, because I
Right.
am going to tap into universal spirit and understand what it is that I need to bring to the table. So it's so beautiful to hear you say that, to understand that even in pivoting, I still have to be in tuned and attuned
Always.
to purpose and to understanding how, I can show up not only for myself, but for other people. So here's a question. When life becomes overwhelming and you are helping women, and then we're going to talk a little bit about your leadership program and helping women to really overcome in those moments, what are some things that you do to help ground you the most that you can pass on to others right now?
So I need to take a minute. And usually when I get home from work, it's usually very busy at work. I come home and I get in my bed. And
Mm-hmm.
I have heavy, seriously fluffy blankets that are thick and delicious, and I will just lay them on me and I will lay under them. And if it needs to be an hour of decompression, it will be.
Mm-hmm.
And my
Mm-hmm.
kids know, like, you just need to let me go. And
Mm-hmm.
I need that, because
Yeah.
it's like that deep pressure. I need to realign myself if I'm feeling like I'm spinning out, a little bit, and that helps me. But like yesterday, once a month, I'll do this thing where I'll get my nails done. But yesterday, like,
Mm-hmm.
I had to run to ShopRite and get some food for the house. So
Mm-hmm.
I ran to ShopRite. The nail place wasn't ready till 7. So I ran to
Mm-hmm.
ShopRite and I grabbed a little sushi. A little sushi. It was
Mm-hmm.
$3.99, $3.59 on sale. And I brought it to the nail place, sat in the massage chair, ate sushi. All the women were jealous. I had my toes and my nails done, sat on the massager, and I was in heaven. And it was
Yes.
woo, toes, all the things. And they were like, look at you. Oh. And I'm just like, ladies, I have and then they come over and they do my hands and my toes at the same time. So I like to save time. So they're
Mm-hmm.
massaging my feet, rubbing here, rubbing my feet, and I'm eating my sushi. And I am just like, that's just the
Yes.
whole thing.
And it's so easy.
It
It's
is so
so,
easy.
we get caught up in the fad of we got to go do this, we got to go do that, and it's got to look like this. No, it could be easy, sweet
Mhm.
moments like that to
Mhm.
reground, to reconnect. I can't wait to get out this afternoon in the sun with my
So
sound
beautiful.
bowls and just play
Oh
in
man.
the wind this afternoon to rejuvenate myself. So, listen, ladies, if you're hearing us, what we're saying is find moments to steal away just for you.
Yes,
Even if
you
it's
have to.
getting massages in the massage chair when you get your nails done or sitting in the bathtub,
Yeah.
find those moments. I often tell my clients, give yourself 30 minutes when you get off work, you get home, tell everybody to leave you alone for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
You don't want to be a problem solver. You don't want to be anybody's hero. You don't want to be anybody's sponge.
Nope.
30 minutes. I like your hour better
I know. I kind of need
because
it. It's before my
to
daughter gets
redirect.
us. Yeah, and she'll
Hmm.
come home now and she'll go on her iPad for a little, and then she'll go to karate or do whatever. But the little one, but it's like she needs to come home and decompress too. She'll be like, "Mommy,
Absolutely.
get out of my room." I'm like, "This is
Hmm.
my room. Like
Hmm.
she wants to be in the blankets too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just decompress." And she'll be like, "Don't talk, mommy. You got to be quiet."
Exactly. And honoring those boundaries, teaching children early to have boundaries and to have a voice is a
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful thing. So let me ask you a little bit about the leadership and trauma informed leadership.
Mhm.
We know that leaders are often chosen because of aggressive natures, bullying, and things of that nature. How do you help leaders avoid unintentionally leading from their unhealed wounds?
Well, I think that is a really healthy question, because
Mhm.
I think sometimes when people are unhealed, it's just a mess and you can kind of see it. And it may unravel not with the work you're trying to do, but maybe it unravels in the way you treat your family, or maybe it unravels in the way you show up or don't show up for others. And, you know, if you sit down with one of these leaders and you start asking them questions, I'll feel too. I'll just like put my hands up and be like, there's a hole there. There's this. And I'll kind of, you know, able to see the gaps, like where you need to work. So because of that, I'm pretty effective with that. I started that leadership program over almost 2 years ago in December. And I started it. I didn't have a lot of success with it. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like this was the season. I was actually waiting for my position at this job to open, and it took over 2 years to open because of state regulations, and you know, it took forever. So I was waiting for, you know, I'm going to be your clinical director, but what's going on? Oh, the state, the this or that. So it took forever. Now we're open over a year, but I was like, I was doing that. And plus, like doing that, I did the women's leadership and trauma, and I had some successful clients. You know what I mean? I enjoyed doing it. I am on LinkedIn as a leadership coach, and I keep getting coaching requests like literally almost every day, and I haven't yet responded to a lot of people. So if you're watching this, I see you. I'm trying to figure out how, as being a clinical director and doing this privately, I can make it happen, because I'd rather do like group coaching instead of just, you know how it goes. You do a ticket.
Yeah, the individual.
Yes, the individual. Like I don't have a lot of time. You know what I mean? Because also being in recovery, like I have to devote time for me to still go to recovery meetings. Like I have to always come first, even though I don't come first. You know what I mean? Like if I don't come
But
first,
you do come first.
yes,
If you don't put yourself in that space
absolutely.
of personal prioritization,
Yes.
you can find yourself back down in some rabbit holes of triggers, back down into those spaces of anxiety,
And
depression,
depression, and not
PTSD.
getting out of that bed. The bed will suck
Exactly. That
you in. I'll
depression
get
is
bed
real.
rotting. Oh yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
so I'm so grateful, that you are giving women a space to really understand that being a hero in their lives and pivoting only needs to look like removing that cape. So, what would be a message that you would leave with women today on pivoting and taking the cape off?
I took my cape off about 6 years ago. I had to. I burned it. It's burned.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something I used to wear it like I was super mom, super proud, super this, super
Mm-hmm.
that. And you know what? I surrendered the cape. I said, this is no longer working, because it comes with the cape comes my biggest defect is perfection. And
Mm-hmm.
I am not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Far from, you know, and but having that expectation that I had to be the perfect mom, the perfect therapist, the perfect worker, make all this perfection, it was unrealistic. And the unrealistic expectations I put on myself were very damaging to my self-esteem, for myself, like my whole self, you know, body, mind, spirit, my
Mm-hmm.
alignment, um, and it affected my mental health. Like after losing two children back to back a year apart, it
Mm-hmm.
made me feel like I could not function normally as a woman. And it made me really
Mm-hmm.
struggle with like, what's wrong with me? Why
Yeah.
can't I carry a child? Why am I having babies that have all these problems? Like, and they're dying. Like, it just made me
Mm-hmm.
feel very, very defective. And, you know, and I realized like, I am not in charge.
Right.
I'm
And
not.
and that's where you take the cape off and you recognize
Here you
that,
go, God.
listen,
You do it.
this is beyond me and my scope. And
Yep.
it's okay to be beyond my scope and to lay it down, because I was never meant to be in that space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me this, because I know we gotta wrap it up, because you and I could go on and on
We
and on.
really
We're gonna have to
could. Oh
talk
my God.
outside of
We're gonna
this.
talk outside of this for sure. I don't know where
Absolutely.
you are, but I'm gonna
I'm
come.
in Georgia. I'm Georgia,
I'm
but
coming
we're
to
gonna figure it
Georgia,
out.
girl. We're gonna go have some peach pie and coffee somewhere.
Yes,
For real.
yes,
I'm gonna do
somewhere we're gonna make it happen. But Tell me this, and I already kind of know, but I want you to expound on this idea. How do you resonate with being authentically peculiar?
I embrace it. I so embrace it. I have been told by my brother, who also has a podcast. He told me my whole life that I'm a weirdo since I was a kid, and that I always am attracted to the weirdos. So if the weirdos
Mm,
are the people who are a little different, little eccentric, little bigger spirited, then I am totally peculiar, and I love it. And I have nothing but authentic. Like, you're not going to get anything but authentic, because I cannot stand fakeness. That's one of my
yes.
biggest struggles. I can spot phony baloney from your energy, from across the room, from this, from that. And it's like, you know what? You're just not my cup of tea. And that's okay. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I would like a mommy makeover and get some fake tatas. However, after nursing 3 children, things need to be lifted, talked about, all
Hmm.
things. And I'm
As
okay
we get
with
older, it's
that.
okay for us to get some lifts and some
Yeah,
support.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I don't feel bad about that, because I'm not like a plastic person, but
Mm-hmm.
some things need to be fixed, managed, and controlled by a doctor and not
Yes.
me, because bras can only do so much. I don't know why I'm telling you this on a live podcast, but other women will understand.
We will understand. I've had 120-pound weight loss, so I will be meeting with my
Oh,
plastics
yes.
on next week as we
Congrats.
talk about, what we do with all this excess skin. How do we get
I
things
need it.
refreshed and renewed? So there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So share with our audience how people can contact you, follow you on social media, get the book, get the book. How
Mhm.
can they do that?
Well, my book, Bravely Unraveled, I'm in the middle of rewriting. I had
Okay.
an issue with my publisher, who actually stole all my proceeds. So, yep, it's not the first time I've heard this from multiple people who've written.
I
And
stopped using publishers for
well,
I'm working on the book now. I stopped using
yeah,
publishers. I'm publishing myself. Hmm.
yeah, that's probably what I'll do as I'm rewriting, because
Hmm.
he stole all my proceeds from Amazon, and Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere my book is sold, he is stealing all the profits. So,
So I'll wait until you rewrite and
yes,
then I'll
and
order my
that's what I
copy.
will let
Gotcha.
people know, because
Okay.
um, it's really a horrible thing that he did, and
Hmm.
not okay at all. So,
Yeah.
I'll be dealing with that when the time is right. I'll let him get a
Hmm.
few more bucks off me, and then that,
Okay.
that's we'll see how that turns out for him down the road.
Okay.
And but please know, Mr. Carl, terrible what you did, and karma will get you, honey. And God
Karma
does
will.
not like ugly. So
Hmm.
that being
Hmm.
said, you can find me on Instagram, Michelle underscore LaFemina, right? Underscore Michelle LaFemina.
Yeah. Hmm.
And then also on Facebook, Michelle LaFemina. Where else? I'm LinkedIn, Michelle
Hmm.
LaFemina. You'll see
Hmm.
me. You'll see a picture from one of the magazines. And where else? I just
Well,
joined Snapchat.
we're going to tag you everywhere, including Snapchat, TikTok, all of those different places, because everything will be posted. Listen, you all. First of all, Michelle, thank you, thank you, thank you for being a guest. Thank you for being a spirit
You too.
connection.
Oh yeah, I feel you, sister. I
I
feel it.
love that. I love that. And thank you so much for being open and vulnerable and transparent in your journey and
Mm,
empowering for women all over this big globe, as it's time for women to really
rise.
own themselves again.
Mm,
Own their power and own their voices. So
amen.
you all make sure that you all go out, follow Michelle, connect with her, ask her questions, leave her comments. She'll get back to you even in the busyness of her days. But as a reminder, when all you're doing and all that you can do, always remain authentically peculiar within yourself. You don't have to fit in anybody else's mold. Just be you. So
Yes.
until the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia, stay in tuned, stay present, and definitely stay authentically peculiar. Take good care, and we'll see you at the next episode. Thank you for sharing time and space with us today on Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Don't forget to like, comment, and share the podcast with everyone that you know. In addition, go out and support each of the guests and their own social platforms. Buy their products, leave them a comment. We'll see you on the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia.